The panic started not out of fear of this cataclysmic event, but out of sheer impossibility of circumstance. Black holes should be the ultimate graves of matter and information. By the laws of physics as we currently comprehend them, everything that enters a black hole's event horizon is gone forever. Inside that invisible line, even light can't get out, and information, and classical thinking, is obliterated from our universe. They are cosmic erasers, regions in which the understood laws dissolve into nothingness. And yet, here it was. A signal. Measurable. Repeatable. Structured. A signal that appeared to be coming from a place where information shouldn't be able to escape. It wasn't a faint whisper of background radiation, nor the chaotic fury of collapsing matter. It was something that bore the fingerprints of structure, of design. Something that by every model we've ever built, by every assumption we've held to be true, simply should not exist. It challenged not only general relativity but the very pillars of quantum mechanics. The world of science fell into a silent type of chaos, a stunned silence filled with awe, incredulity, and terror. The black hole information paradox again stormed into the center of physics. But this time, it wasn't ignited by a chalkboard argument or a conference panel. It was actual. Physical. Observed. The paradox had been born, not as a thought experiment, but as an enigma traveling across space, whispering through the most distant voice human civilization has ever cast into the unknown, Voyager 1. If information may, under some unknown conditions, escape from a black hole, then something fundamental and essential in our concept of the universe is broken. Either the laws that manage event horizons are mistaken, or incomplete, or there's a quantum process by which data can be stored and sent from what we thought was an everlasting emptiness. And if that is correct, everything is different. It would mean black holes aren't just dead ends. They could be doorways, tunnels, or worse, centers of communication. The sort of buildings not only warped by gravity, but possibly constructed, or used, by intelligences so much greater than our own. What Voyager 1 picked up wasn't an anomaly. It was a challenge to the very basis of reality we have. Physicists sought to place the data within all available frameworks of theory. Loop quantum gravity, string theory, M-theory, and the holographic principle were all reconsidered in desperate haste. Might this be the first concrete proof of a holographic universe, in which information is not lost but smeared on the event horizon, accessible under certain quantum conditions? Or was it something more extreme? Something bleeding through from another place altogether, proof that black holes are portals to parallel universes, and what Voyager picked up was a message from elsewhere. The structure in the signal was consistent. Every pulse had microfluctuations that didn't resemble any natural radiation. The frequency exhibited modulation, intentional shifts and patterns that couldn't be attributed to random space noise. It spoke of meaning. Structure. A few researchers started whispering the unthinkable. It could be a code. It wasn't binary. It wasn't hexadecimal. It did not align with any Earth-based encoding scheme. Some thought it could be quantum bit-based, qubits, or encoded in entangled particle states that need a whole new multidimensional mathematical formalism to decrypt. Voyager 1, humanity's farthest object, was launched in 1977, and it had already well surpassed expectations. It was only tasked with exploring Jupiter and Saturn as part of a once-in-a-lifetime planetary alignment. The mission was to be over decades ago. And yet, here it was, speeding through the interstellar void, past the heliopause, still whispering back to Earth from more than 15 billion miles away. Alone, quiet, old, and now, it had picked up something. Something no one had anticipated. The signal, by exact triangulation, seemed to come from a known stellar mass black hole about 3,000 light-years away, located near the outer edges of the Sagittarius arm of the Milky Way. It wasn't a gravitational wave, nor the bursty high-energy emissions we sometimes see from the accretion disks of active black holes. It was something else. It had structure. Initially, skeptics suspected Voyager itself. The probe is old-fashioned by today's standards. Its instruments were constructed based on 1970s technology. Maybe it was a malfunction. Glitch? But soon, that hope dissipated. The readings were confirmed. Several instruments on Voyager detected the anomaly. The signal came back so regularly and with so much variance that the likelihood of its being a malfunction fell to zero. Even more ominous, it was starting to change. Scientists started monitoring the signal more intensely. It continued to match the location of the black hole. That in itself was really disturbing. By definition, black holes must not give off structured signals. Sure, we can see the turbulence surrounding them, the matter infalling, the relativistic jets from their poles, the magnetic tempest of nearby activity, but within the event horizon? Nothing ever. And still, this was not just within the realm of influence, it could have been on the very periphery, or perhaps even deep inside. Early speculations postulated that gravitational lensing could have warped a faraway signal in a manner so as to make it only seem to be coming from the black hole. Others theorized maybe this wasn't actually a black hole, but rather an entirely new type of object that was simulating one. But all of those hypotheses fell apart as more information came in. Attention turned then to Hawking radiation, Stephen Hawking's theoretical process by which black holes gradually decrease mass over time because of quantum fluctuations. But Hawking radiation is weak. It is random. It is noisy. This was not. This was powerful. Organized. Purposeful. The tone of the community changed. If the signal was not only organized but responsive, then something sent it. Something within, or outside, the black hole had seen Voyager 1. That fact shook even the hardest of skeptics. Because if something is within a black hole that can send a signal, then not just does intelligence exist in a place physics tells us it should be empty, it's aware that we are here. What sort of technology, what sort of being, can exist where time stands still and space folds endlessly inward? What sort of creature uses gravity and quantum fields as communication tools? The chilling response, something extremely old, or something extremely advanced. Maybe this was not natural. Maybe it was an artifact, an ancient signal planted millennia ago by a lost civilization. Or worse, it might be a watcher node, still in operation. Maybe it was neither a message nor a greeting, but a listening station. And Voyager, by sheer cosmic happenstance, just happened to float by at the correct angle to pick up its thrum. Voyager, our ambassador to the stars, had unwittingly been transformed into a receiver. Not a beacon, but a sensor. And now it was sending the most amazing enigma that humanity had ever faced back to Earth via its spent reserve of power. The signal continued to come. It never changed its rhythm. And then, in gruesome detail, it started to shift. Small frequency modulations adjusted as Earth's antennas recalibrated. It was evolving. It was fine-tuning itself to be heard more easily. It was learning how to communicate with us. Governments everywhere paid attention. NASA escalated quietly. The intelligence communities were read in. Emergency working groups were established. The world consensus wasn't that this was hostile, but that it was unexplained. And history has proven that the unexplained evokes fear more than threat. For if information can leak out of a black hole, what else can? What else can be there, locked away beyond time, with technologies or abilities beyond our understanding? Can such a thing watch our universe from the inside out, observing, waiting, perhaps even manipulating? Is it perhaps utilizing black holes not as graves, but as instruments? The planet's greatest radio telescopes were realigned. One-star or quasar-pointing observatories were reconfigured to listen in on this one patch of space. Around the world, a different type of listening started. The pattern of the signal was recorded in petabytes of data and examined frame by frame, frequency by frequency. Each scientist prayed for resolution. None materialized. Rather than that, what arrived was the acknowledgement that we may be dealing with a system of communications that is outside our dimensional framework, something that is working not in 3, but possibly 5 or 6 dimensions. A message inscribed not in language, but in geometry. In quantum state changes. In gravitational subtlety. NASA released word of the potential to send a new probe, a sibling to Voyager, but not to explore, but to eavesdrop. Since Voyager's power source had a few years before it would shut down, this relic of the Cold War era was now humanity's most precious technological relic. Each second of signal it recorded could be its last. And then the philosophical tsunami swept into being. If black holes can transmit, then absolute death, total entropy, is no longer a possibility. If intelligence can survive beyond the disintegration of space and time, then what are the limits of life? Of consciousness? Might our definitions of self and soul be astronomically too small? The universe had always seemed cold and unfeeling. But now, for the first time, it seemed responsive. We had always believed we were alone because no one replied. Perhaps the universe was never silent, though. Perhaps we just didn't know how to listen. Until now. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more cosmic secrets and deep space discoveries. And leave us a comment below. What does Voyager really discovered? Is it another civilization signal, or did we just crack open the first door into a whole new reality of what exists? Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next transmission.